We're live.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live event with the Sleeve Chef.
Hi everybody, good evening, great to see everyone.
My name is Jana Wolff. I am the dietitian at GBMC's Comprehensive Obesity Management Program. We have two very special guests today, Amy and Nancy. And before we even get started, because I know everyone knows you, I want to introduce our very special guests. They are our taste testers tonight. They're going to be asking questions if they have any. And first up, we're going to have them tell us their name, what surgery they got, when they got it, and what their biggest NSV is, their non-scale victory. So Amy, you want to go first?
Yep. Hi, I'm Amy. I am a favorite here. I love this show, so thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here.
I was sleeved on March 23rd, and my biggest no scale victory was I just completed the Bay 10K, which I would have never done.
Very
had I not been on this journey.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Nancy Williams. I had RNY, I guess, and it was May 12, 2015. And my biggest being able to cross my legs was my biggest NSV. I do it all the time.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you guys so much. They'll be joining us later to do a taste test of our amazing, I cannot wait.
Yum, yum.
I cannot wait for this.
Super excited.
I was just telling Michael that I have been hearing about this recipe since the beginning of my job here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be cooking?
Sure, yeah, I'd love to. No pressure. So, yeah, guys, so we are going to be preparing, in case you don't know who I am, my name is Michael Salomon. I am the Sleeve Chef. I'm here with the wonderful Jana Wolff. As always, wanted to give a big shout out to ABC for giving us use of the studio, as always. So we are going to be preparing. Thanksgiving is one of the most challenging times of the year. I know it is for me. I love to eat. I love the aspect of Thanksgiving. I love families coming together and everybody eating. And so really our goal behind this recipe this evening is to give you something that you can bring to your holiday Thanksgiving and enjoy just alongside everybody else. So this is the Thanksgiving turkey burger.
Yum.
Yum, yum, yum. I know Michelle Curran's out there watching. I see you, Michelle.
And she was the one that told me about this originally.
Yes, exactly.
And while Michael's cooking, I'm going to talk a little bit about some strategies that come into play when you go to your family or friends' houses. It's really, or you have people over, it's really difficult, like Mike was saying, to make sure that you have normal portion sizes, to make sure that you don't feel too full, and to not feel pressured when you're going to your family's place, especially if someone made something specifically for you. I know that a lot of our patients have a lot of difficulty doing this. So while you're doing your thing, I'm going to do my thing.
That's fantastic.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So guys, so the whole idea again is behind this recipe is we want to be able to make something that is going to remind you of Thanksgiving. That's what my primary focus was, to create a dish that was going to be healthy, full of protein, and still remind you of all those classic Thanksgiving flavors. So our Thanksgiving turkey burger is going to have some dried cranberries in it. We're going to have some sage, thyme, and rosemary. We're going to have some onion, celery, and carrot. And then we're finally going to top it off with a simple piece of cheddar cheese. It's going to be light,
very savory,
protein-rich, and delicious. Exactly.
22 grams of protein to be exact.
Yeah, exactly. And that little 4-ounce patty, guys. This is going to be delicious.
All right.
All right. So let's get started. So we've got our onions and carrots. We're going to want to mince them up, which means we're going to make them really small. So we'll start off with our onion. In case you've heard the term mirepoix before, this is basically a mirepoix in traditional French cooking. So we've got yellow onion, celery, and carrot. It's 50% onion, 25% celery, 25% carrot. But for our case, we're going to dice these. We're going to mince these very small because we're going to cook them slightly.
Can you give us some tricks in terms of cutting an onion?
Sure, I'd love
because I have trouble with that.
Sure. So one of the first things I do is I'll remove the root and remove the stem. So very carefully, just keep your onion on the side here. Very carefully keep your onion on the side here and just go straight down one side. Keep your knuckles tucked in. So you keep your fingertips tucked in. The side of that blade should go up against the side of that middle knuckle and straight back down. And then we'll cut it again, straight down. Now you've got a flat surface on which to cut. Really important. So when you're cutting this, you don't want to be cutting like this because the onion will rot. You want to be cutting like this so you're laying on a flat surface. So we'll peel off that top layer.
Okay, and I'm just tuning in to everyone else. And thank you, Jane and Terry, for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
And if you guys have any questions, especially when it comes to Thanksgiving holiday survival, I'm gonna give you a couple of options, obviously. But you go until you're ready.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So we are going to get our onion here. So we've got our onion sliced in half. We are going to mince it. So we're going to go really, really slowly here again with our fingertips tucked in. Very, very important. You don't want to do this. This is a very common thing. Trust me, I know.
You'll get a little extra protein in there.
Exactly. So you want to real slowly go slice that onion really thin, right? You'll see I'm using the tip of my knife when I'm doing this. And again, I'm just not using a rocking motion. I'm just sliding forward. So I'm really slicing this onion nice and thin.
And thank you, Nikki, for joining us. And Heather, hi.
Hi, Nikki.
Yes.
Chef Michael, how often do you sharpen your knives?
Great question. Quarterly.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to, because you want to be careful with your knives. You don't want to over sharpen them. But yeah, keep doing it on a quarterly basis and then hit them on a honing steel to help keep that edge.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So then what we want to do is we just want to very carefully go right over our onion, our slices, keeping them together.
Very good.
To get that nice minced onion.
All right, and hello, Nicole. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Nicole. Good to see you.
Now, one of the best things that I like to do on Thanksgiving is exercise. I know that that's kind of a no-brainer, but going on a walk with your family is the easiest thing to do. It'll actually burn off a little bit of calories so you feel like you have something to go off of, during Thanksgiving.
That's a great
point.
point.
But at the same time, you can also do turkey trots. They're all over the place. You can sign up for one. I see a lot of nodding of heads. Amy, are you doing one?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Fantastic.
And you can walk, jog, or run those. So, everyone is welcome to do those. You can even bring your dogs to them. And then, or you can just do a class at the gym or do something with your family, okay? I also got a great little tip from another dietitian, wearing tight clothes on Thanksgiving. Okay, because you might not overeat as much.
I used to do that all the time. Thanksgiving wasn't a special occasion.
So, if you wear something big, you won't realize how full you're getting and how uncomfortable your clothing is feeling, okay?
That is a great, great point. So what we're looking for, guys, for our onions here is we want that nice, small little mince.
Oh, very nice.
See this? This is what we're looking for. If they're nice and small, you'll see the reason why very, very shortly. It will become quite clear. So next up, we're going to do our celery. Again, the exact same process. We want to keep them nice and small, keep them very uniformed in size. So we're going to take our celery, we're going to cut it right in half. And then again, we're just going to go straight down. Again, going nice and slow. There's no need to rush. Very careful.
And if you like to eat while you cook, which I don't recommend all the time, but hey, celery, carrots, perfect snack for while you're eating or cooking.
And again, we are going to just go nice and slow here, guys. Keep that thumb tucked back, and we're just going to go right and mince up that celery.
And we have a question from Nancy.
That was one of my questions. As I cook for my family, is taste testing. I mean, it's really hard. I keep trying to do it. It's really hard. And so and keep me from, how do you really accomplish that?
You know what I do? I ask someone else to taste it.
That is a great, great point.
Okay? Because I know that if I start, tasting something, it's going to be game over. It's going to spiral, and I'm going to be tasting everything. So for anyone out there who needs to taste test, give it to someone else because they're going to be eating it, really. So you really want to know how they like it and what they would recommend. Also, a lot of the things that you cook, even if it's just a regular night that you're cooking dinner, you know what the things taste like if you've cooked them over and over again. So you have to remember, okay, I've done this before. I know what it tastes like. I don't really need to taste it. It's probably okay. And if the kids or the husband or wife doesn't love it, they can let you know and you can adjust. Okay?
That is a great point. So for our carrots, guys, we'll go ahead and peel it first. And then let's cut off the stem. And we'll just go ahead and cut our carrot And what we want to do for our carrot, again, see how this is rolling around? The key thing to do here is you want to cut it nice thin slice, create a flat surface for yourself so your carrot will actually stick where it is.
Very good.
Very, very simple
Safe.
little trick that's going to save you some fingertips, trust me. And
Okay.
again, let's go nice and slow here.
Another thing that I find is with a lot of patients, we have food pushers. Anyone have that in the audience? Where people at your Thanksgiving or Christmas, I mean, we have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, every party that you could think of, plus birthdays and all the unexpected things, right? People push food on you because it's an act of love, okay? And when you're with your family, people are going to say, try this, I made this for you, take this home with you. These are things that we constantly hear over and over again because you're basically saying, I love you, here's food. But you, on the other hand, are really trying. And a lot of people know that if they take something, it might be a trigger to eat something else, okay?
Sure.
Or to overeat. So I've read a lot about this, and you can actually talk to your family beforehand and make sure they realize what you're doing. Communication is always best. And also just saying, no thank you, I really appreciate it, I love all of the food here, and I'm full.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Or saying, I'll have some later,
Right.
and just pushing it off.
Right, or I'll pass for now, or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah. Communication.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But getting back to the carrots.
Yes, guys. So the carrots here. So again, when you're mincing, it's really important. See how this is nice and thin to start off with? If this is thicker, you're not going to be able to get that mince, right? This is not going to work out.
It's not going to blend so well into the meat,
Exactly.
I would assume. Yes.
So is there a benefit to mincing versus using like a small food processor or
Great
chopper?
Good question.
Eating through
Very
it?
good question. Honestly, you can do either. Because I'm classically trained, I tend to always go towards knife skills before I go towards a food
And I wonder
processor.
if it's just a setting thing.
It is, yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
you can. I would cut it if you're going to do a food processor, like an onion, carrot, celery. Same thing. I would cut them small. I would large dice them, and then I would put them into a processor. So that you don't want to take the whole.
Yeah.
You don't want to put like we cut the onion in half. You don't want to put both of those halves in the processor, right?
Okay.
It's too much for it to break down. So the smaller they are, the easier it is for the processor to break everything down. So that's what I would really focus on when if you're going to go food processor versus an actual like a traditional mince. But really the key is to get this small as possible, right? So that is what we're looking for right there, nice small.
Beautiful. And another thing I have to remind you guys, do not save your calories for Thanksgiving, okay? Because you're ultimately going to end up eating a lot more. So you want to eat breakfast and lunch. I know that, again, another no-brainer. Eat breakfast and lunch. Don't save up all those calories because you're just going to be going overboard with them. Okay?
Great point.
And keep hydrated during the day. Did you guys know that sometimes dehydration shows itself in hunger?
Yeah,
So
I've heard that.
stay hydrated also.
There you go. All right, guys. So we've got so what we're going to do next is we're going to do a nice quick saute on our vegetables. And the idea here is we just want to soften them up just a bit before we go into the burgers.
Okay. And if you guys in the audience have any questions, feel free to ask us, type them in. And I want to say hello to Megan, who just joined us.
Hi, Megan.
Oh, this
All
is
right,
gonna smell
now it's
good.
going to start smelling good in a second.
Yes.
So we have our pan on low, guys. We're just going to saute these. Remember, saute means little to no color. So we're going to do that over a low heat. And again, you really want to perfume these vegetables.
Wait, is that what the word means?
Saute?
Yeah.
Saute means little or no color.
I did not
what you-
know
is
that.
what you wanna do.
Our audience
Yep.
did not
There you
know
go.
that.
There's a little salt, a little pepper.
Cool.
As this sautés, a little bit more fat.
For anyone out there who's hardcore into doing no starch right now and really keeping your carbs down, I do want to remind you that Trader Joe's has come out with a cauliflower stuffing, which I hope that they keep for the whole year because that would be an awesome side dish for any time. And you can use butternut squash, by the way.
Yep.
So if you wanted to do like a sweet potato casserole kind of thing, but swap it out with butternut squash, that's a great idea because it kind of has a similar taste profile.
All right, so next we'll add our onions and add our celery and our carrots. And again, a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper here for the onions and the carrots. Or for the celery as well, rather.
Okay.
And again, all we want to do is we just want to saute these, get a nice, till they're nice and translucent. They won't be long. It should take about 2 to 3 minutes for each, especially for the onions. You don't want to burn them. So you just want to start to have them start to perfume, and then you can go and add in your celery and your carrots.
Beautiful.
And the reason that we mince is twofold. One, we want to be able to cook them quickly while we're sauteing them. And two, when you're eating the turkey burger, is that you're not going to get a big bite of an onion. You're not going to get a big bite of a carrot. Everything will be uniform inside of each burger.
And it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I will remind everyone, small plates at Thanksgiving, fill up. This is what I do, and sometimes it works. Most of the time it works. Small plate, fill up half your plate with your non-starchy veggies. Do a fourth of your plate with your 3 to 4 ounces of turkey. And then that last fourth, if you want to, that's kind of your fourth of a plate. You decide, what am I in it for? You be choosy, and pick what you want. If you want to go no starch, that's fine. But if you want a little something, fill up on the turkey and the veggies, and then have a little something,
That's a great point.
But Thanksgiving does come around every year. So, and the leftovers are there. I would recommend that if you're hosting Thanksgiving, get some of those Tupperware and give out the leftovers so you don't have them lying around. Or, just refuse leftovers if they're given to you.
Yeah. Another great point that helps me is I like to do what I like to call navigate the table, which means I take a look through the table and I go, okay, what can I eat and what so I'll go for the green veg and I'll go for the leafy green veg and I'll go for the turkey.
Yeah.
Right, because I know the turkey's high in protein. I know it's going to be good for me, and then I'll have I'll have my leafy green veg. So I'm sort of looking at the table and just sort of navigating it and figuring out, okay, I'm going to have this, and maybe a little bit of that, and that's it.
So you're going in with a strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Otherwise,
that's a really good idea.
Because I've found before when I don't, I tend to overeat or unconsciously eat. It's very easy. Trust me. I'm with you guys. This is a very, very hard time of year.
Yeah.
We are here to make this time of year successful and fun for you.
And I will tell you, if you feel as though you're spiraling or going out of control with your diet when you're in this really difficult holiday time, please don't feel embarrassed. Make an appointment with me at GBMC.
Yeah.
Just ask for me, put it on the books. I take post-op and pre-op if you need it. So just make an appointment with me,
right.
Okay? Because we can, again, like you said, when you go into the table with a strategy, you can go into your whole holiday with a strategy.
And you can also reach out to that comp support page, everyone. That everybody on there, we are all here for you. We're always happy to answer questions. It's a judgment-free zone. It's a great ton of support on that page as well.
Yeah.
So for our vegetables here, see this color? See how they're almost translucent? That's what we're looking for. They're
Beautiful.
soft. They're almost translucent here. So I'm going to go ahead and just slide these onto a plate. Let them cool down a bit before I add them into that turkey.
Okay, and we're going to say hi to Brittany. Thank you for joining us. We've been talking about some Thanksgiving strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then also the 10-minute rule. Does anyone know that one? Where when you're done with your one plate, you wait 10 minutes. Make sure that you are actually full before you go and get seconds. It takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to tell your brain that you're actually full.
I know I'm going to do that.
Yeah, well, it's very hard to do, but if you eat slowly, if you really follow the bariatric guidelines of chewing your food, taking very small bites, not having your fork up on deck, waiting for you to go and get another bite. Really taking your time and practicing mindful eating and just enjoying what you're eating, you actually might get pretty full from not even a full plate.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So next up, guys, we're going to add our fresh herbs. We've got some sage, we've got some rosemary, and we've got some fresh thyme.
Beautiful. Now, I had my first garden this year. I know I'm a little bit old for my first garden, but we had all of these in the backyard, and when I tell you, fresh herbs make a difference. That's it. There's no other words. Fresh herbs make a difference.
Night and day, absolutely.
Yes.
These were $2. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead. So if you don't have fresh herbs, what's the equation for fresh versus dried? Because I know that they're not the same. Don't you have to like double? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yes.
So I do. So I've always gone 1-to-1, and it's always worked out well for me. Because keep in mind, you can always add more. It's a lot harder to take away than it is to add more. So that's always sort of a philosophy I've always adhered to when it comes to cooking.
Because I'm assuming that the fresh herbs are going to be more aromatic.
Exactly.
So if anything, you use a little bit less of the fresh. Is that correct? Or is it just one-on-one?
I was like going 1-to-1, and then sort of venturing, sort of a taste from there.
Okay.
And just figure out, like, maybe I want to add a little bit more, maybe I don't. And keep in mind, again, it's always easier to add more than it is to take away.
Yeah, very true.
It's a very, very hard lesson to learn in cooking, friends.
Yeah.
Take it from me. All right, so we're just going to pick our time here.
So does anyone keep the buffet of food in the other room? Or do you keep it on the table? Because there's a big difference. You know that if you keep the food in the bowls on the table where you're eating, what are you going to do? You're just going to pick at it all day or all night.
That's where I always struggle. That was one of my biggest challenges, and still is really, is grazing.
Grazing, yeah. So, it's really great. If you're hosting your own, you can do whatever you want. You can put the buffet in the kitchen and have the dining room set up or whatever. If you're at someone else's place and you feel comfortable enough, you can always make the suggestion ahead of time to just say, hey, why don't we have the food over there so we can concentrate on all being together?
It's a great idea.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got our rosemary, we've got our sage. And I'm just going to go ahead and for the rosemary, a little trick here, all you want to do is just start at the top, right down there, and just come right down. That rosemary stalk.
That's easy. Mike, what's your favorite herb?
Ooh, good question. You are actually looking at it.
Rosemary.
Love rosemary. Love it, especially this time of year. There's nothing better than some roast beef and some rosemary.
Yum.
Love it.
I always end up with the twigs.
You end up with the twigs. Amy ends up with the twigs.
But yeah, love rosemary. Definitely one of my favorites. Thyme is a very close second.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of thyme. I didn't know it until I was an adult, but thyme is really great. It gives that very savory kind of taste to things.
Absolutely.
That
and again,
warm,
guys,
like fall taste.
Yep. Yeah, thyme always makes me think of fall for sure. All right.
Okay, look
all
at
right.
that.
So look at all these delicious fresh herbs. So one thing I want to say, guys, I tend to use more thyme and rosemary. Thanks, guys. Thank you for all the likes. Don't forget to share too. Please share.
And Nick, hey, what's up to you? And Tim, thank you for joining us.
So one thing I was going to say, guys, with the sage is that we want to use, sage is a very, very potent herb. Very, very potent. Sage can dominate a dish very, very easily. So what I like to do...
And show which one sage is.
So sage is this guy right here.
Okay, the big leaf. But yeah, very potent.
Sage is very potent, and sage could very easily sort of take over a dish. So what I'm doing for these herbs is I'm basically doing a rough chop to start off with.
Okay. Tim, no, I'm a dietitian. Registered dietitian.
And I'll just come back through. Just want to get a nice mince on these herbs. And you'll notice I'm slicing. You don't want to crush your herbs. You want to just slice them, because that'll help release the oils.
Oh. Okay. Okay, and definitely feel free to type in your questions to us as they come along.
Yeah, please, as always, guys. We're always here to help you answer any of your questions. All right. So we've got our herbs. We've got our mirepoix over here. We've got our dried delicious cranberries.
And definitely with the cranberries, you want to go, or craisins, you either want to go fresh, which is fine, or they're going to have a little more liquid to them. But the craisins potentially could have added sugar to them. So if you can find the ones without the added sugar, then you're going to be good to go.
Yep, great point. All right, so we've got our 2 pounds of 93% lean ground turkey.
Uh-oh.
What row?
Okay, there we are.
See, guys, we are live, friends. This is what happens when you're live. It's unpredictable. All right, so we've got our 2 pounds of fresh ground turkey, 93% lean. So when you see 93% lean, what that basically means is that 93% of that grind is the muscle and 7% of it is fat. So there's actually more protein. There's more muscle, less fat. So traditionally, you know, you'll see it like 93, 80-20, 80-20 for a burger is traditional. If you don't see it, assume it's 80-20.
That's a good idea. Yes, Amy.
I have a question on the craisins. They've always scared me since my surgery and this process because of the amount of carbs and sugars in them.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't typically recommend craisins for an every day or an every week or even an every month treat.
Okay.
But you're only putting a little bit into a big amount on this one, kind of like we were talking about adding a tablespoon of butter to a big dish.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of the same idea.
All right.
Yep.
Super. Thank you.
Yep.
You can also leave them out.
Right, exactly. You can just as easily omit them as you can.
They are delicious.
All right, so we're going to have our 4 ounces of craisins here, guys. Now keep in mind, as Jenna was saying and making a great point, that we're only going to have 2 to 3 craisins per burger. So you're not going to,
Yeah, it's not going to be too much. Maybe a couple of bites here
exactly.
and
They're
there.
going to be distributed throughout.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead. We've got our sauteed herbs. We've got our craisins. We've got our mirepoix. We've got our herbs in here. All we're going to do is just give this a good mix.
And we have a hello from Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
And an LOL from Tim with the sign falling.
We're live, man.
Yes.
It's fun about doing it live. Add a little more salt and pepper in here.
Okay, and just as a reminder, if anyone wants to make an appointment with me during the holiday time, they just call up the front desk and ask for an appointment with me. Okay? And I say that because this is a difficult time with eating, making tough decisions, controlling what you eat and what you consume on a daily basis. Really throughout, I would say the months of October through January.
Halloween.
Everything,
Thanksgiving.
yes.
I mean, I know
Who in the audience still has Halloween candy in their home? Because if you do, get it out of there.
Be gone, demon.
I don't like to say bring it to work and give it away, but bring it to work and give it away.
All right, so we're gonna patty these up in nice 4 ounce patties. Again, you'll notice I'm just grabbing that ground turkey and just doing a quick roll with my hands. Cup your hands when you're doing this.
And these probably save well, I'm assuming.
They do. Yep.
You can freeze them.
Yep, you can definitely freeze these.
Do you freeze them raw or freeze them cooked?
I would recommend freezing them cooked.
Questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely recommend freezing them cooked. If you can
And then if
avoid
they're cooked,
freezing,
Do you cook them off all the way or do you cook them off halfway? Oh, I thought I was going to enjoy this.
We
So-
have so many questions.
so sit one more time.
Do you cook them off all the way or cook them off halfway?
All the way.
Okay.
All the way. And then when you open it up, do you let it defrost and then throw it back in the pan, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it. You can just let it defrost. You can cook it in the microwave that way as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find that that's probably the easiest way to do it. I'm always a little hesitant, especially when I'm doing if it's ground meat by itself. I would say freeze the meat.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna make it, I would be a bit hesitant to say freeze with all the ingredients in there.
Because of the risk of bacteria growing?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of the primary thing.
Yeah. Because I was getting confused because I buy turkey burgers from like Costco and they're frozen, but they're just the raw frozen
Right.
ones.
Yep.
Okay.
But those are a flash freeze.
Okay.
So they're basically hitting them at a basically liquid nitrogen, very cold temperature, freezes them almost instantaneously.
I would say maybe you're probably the only one that would potentially have that at home. But we don't.
It's right next to my sous vide machine.
Yes, of course, right? So we're gonna, if you want to freeze these, you cook them fully, you freeze them,
Yep.
you let them defrost when you're ready,
Yep.
and then you throw them on a pan.
Yep.
Okay,
Exactly.
good.
All right. Now they're always going to be better fresh than frozen. Just a heads up too. All right. All right. So we've got our turkey burgers. You can see we've got everything nicely patted out here. See those? Yum yum.
Beautiful. And Holly
Hi, Holly.
She has a great little message for you. You are doing such a great service for the community, Michael. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Holly. We appreciate it. It's not just me. This is for Jana as well, and Mindy and everybody else here. Thank you, guys.
I see you using olive oil. I usually use a spray, non-stick spray. Is that still as good?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
Spray is going to be much fewer calories, less fat. It's not going to give it the richness that something like a pour over oil would, but you know you're saving calories that way. Okay.
Yep.
And here it's easier to just kind of do it with the traditional ingredients as well. And if you want to use olive oil, you can always measure out the tablespoon, because that is the serving size. A tablespoon is usually anywhere from 100 to 120 calories per serving. Okay?
All right.
And if you need to make an appointment with me, they know who I am at the office. So you can always call up and just ask for me.
Yep.
I
So,
see a
real
couple
quick,
of questions
guys,
on there about that. Okay.
So real quick, we're going over a medium heat with these. Again, I'm just going to get some nice Maillard reaction on the outside. That's what happens with protein browns. So this is that brown color.
Yes, it's called Maillard reaction. Now you know French.
There you go, exactly. And you'll notice, traditionally, when you're cooking, I'll usually season again with salt and pepper here. But to help reduce sodium content, because I added a fair amount of salt to the actual ground beef itself, there's really no need to go above and beyond and add salt again to the burgers.
Great. And just to answer a question from the audience, GBMC accepts most insurances.
There you go. Yep, and so now guys, it's just a matter of kind of monitoring these turkey burgers.
All right.
So what questions does everybody have for us? Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, and definitely thank you for supporting us as well, because we do this every month.
Absolutely.
What do we do this on the last? Well, second to last
Tuesday of the month. Yep.
So thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we really appreciate the support, everybody. Share the videos, tell your friends. You know, we just love having everybody here. We love being able to offer this to all of you out there.
And I will make a little plug. How about that? Next Thursday on the 30th at 10 a.m., I will be doing a Facebook Live. So you can tune in to the GBMC page just like you're doing now and see me talking about all of this stuff kind of that we talked about today. Some of the healthier swaps for the holidays and those strategies for the holidays, so you're not suffering and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
You do not. And remember, guys, you are not alone.
No.
You are not the only one out there looking at that smorgasbord of food on that Thanksgiving table and going, oh man, what? I would just dive mouth first into all of this, right? We're all in this together. We're going to get through the holidays. It's going to be successful. We're going to feel great. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes.
And yes, definitely tune in to next week. What's that? When is it?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Perfect.
The 30th on Thursday. All right. And I'm nervous because guess who's not going to be there?
Oh no.
My sweet chef.
I know.
It's just going to be me.
All right, guys. All right. So what we want to look for here with our turkey burgers. See this color? You guys grab this.
All right, and Jason, hello, welcome.
Is that brown color? That is what you want. That's that Maillard reaction happening right there.
Beautiful.
See that? You have great brown color? That is what you want.
Okay, and let's see. You can pair these. You know what I would pair these with? A nice Brussels sprout.
Oh, you'd be great with Brussels sprouts.
I would do a little chopped up Brussels sprout hash.
Absolutely, yeah. I would do that. I would love these with like some sauteed red Swiss chard would be delicious.
Oh, Swiss chard.
Sauteed spinach as well. There's just so many things you can put with this. You could
throw it on a salad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You could do spaghetti squash. All sorts of deliciousness that you could do.
Yeah. So as we're cooking this, so how long do we throw these on for? Did you say that before?
So we're going to cook these. These are going to go on. I'm going to cook them for about 2 minutes before I flip them over. And then just get that nice browning on the outside. Get that nice Maillard reaction. And then from there, really you just want to cook it until 165-degree internal temperature, much like you'd cook a turkey as well. You don't want to cook these medium rare. You don't want to cook them, anything below well done. We want to get them right. We hit that nice sweet spot of well done.
Yeah. All right, and we do have 5 minutes left, so if you have any questions, get them in now. And I do want to mention, by the way, if you're missing bread, okay, bread's a big one because we're so used to having sandwiches, especially with something like this. You could do a cloud bread, and we actually did a cloud bread on one of our previous sessions here. But you can also, of course, do the unwich, like Jimmy John's calls it, with the big piece of lettuce, either iceberg or romaine, either one. But also, I have discovered a beautiful product called Outer Aisle Cauliflower Flats.
Huh.
So they are very, very low in carbs, just basically made out of cauliflower and some herbs. And they're called Outer Aisle, like the outer aisle of a grocery store. Okay? And you can definitely get them online. I'm not 100% sure which grocery stores carry them just yet. Okay?
So normally, I would advocate against pressing your burgers, because when you press your burgers, you basically get all that excess juice out of it. Ideally, when you're cooking your burger, you want to leave it alone. But because we've got a bit of a time crunch, I'm going to go ahead and just do a little press to help get things moving along.
And hello, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
How are you? Yes, we have a question from Amy.
Is there a benefit of doing, what did you call it? I can't say that French word.
Oh, the Maillard?
The Maillard, and then popping it in the oven to finish it off to get to your temperature?
Ah, great question.
Love that.
Yeah, so actually that's a very common cooking technique, right? Whenever you're sauteing or like pan searing something, for example, traditionally in a restaurant, you're going to pan sear, and then they're going to go right in the oven. They're going to flip it, and they're going to go right in the oven. And they do that because with an oven, you've got you're surrounded. The heat is surrounding it, and so it's actually going to cook it more evenly and more controlled versus a direct heat like we have here. So the indirect heat of the oven is the circulation in the convection oven versus our direct heat here.
Okay. It's totally possible. Just take that pan, throw it right in the oven, and just
Absolutely,
walk
I
away
do
and come
it all the
back.
time.
Okay.
Yep.
Love that idea.
All right, so we're gonna go
Easy.
and top into some of our sliced cheddar.
And I always recommend a low-fat cheese.
Yep.
You're going to cut a lot of calories out. It's going to have a similar melting effect. Not exactly the same, but similar. And you can definitely get a nice low-fat cheddar. I personally like Cabot low-fat cheddar. Yeah, and then you can also get, you can do creamy. A Swiss on here too. There's lots of low-fat Swiss options.
You would have any Cabot cheese, you would have no idea that it's actually low-fat.
I know.
It's so creamy.
I love it. Go Vermont.
Agreed.
And Edith, hello, welcome.
Hi, Edith. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. And
all right.
We're almost done.
Yeah, we are almost done, guys.
That was
go ahead and
pretty
kick
quick.
my heat off here. Come right out of the pan. Put back there.
And if you ever put a little too much oil or anything like that, you can blot them down.
Yep.
Okay.
All
This
right.
looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
We'll let these guys rest for a moment. It's a very important thing, guys.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so when you're cooking, especially larger cuts of meat, like your turkey, for example, on Thanksgiving, you always want to let it rest, and you want to do that because if you cut into it immediately, all that moisture, all that juice is just going to flow right out of it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is that it's actually going to allow the cooking method to finish. So traditionally, when you're cooking turkey, for example, what happens with turkey when you overcook it is when the timer goes off, and then you've got you leave it the timer goes off and you pull it out and you think, oh, it's done, it's set to 165. Well, if you pull it out and you put it back in, or you pull it out and you put it back on your cutting board, it's going to cook an additional 10 to 15 degrees beyond that. So when you're cooking your turkey, pull it at about 150 to 155. Internal temperature, hit the thigh, because the thigh is the last piece of the turkey to cook. So do that, and then pull it out, let it rest, and it'll come up to temp and come up to 165 that way.
Beautiful. That's great.
Friendly little tip for you.
And Katie says she's Not a turkey burger fan, but they look great so far. And I would say if you ever wanted to do this in a 93% lean beef or chicken,
Absolutely.
yeah, why not?
Absolutely.
And if you didn't want like the sweet component of the craisins, you could do all of those herbs and the mirepoix. That would be delicious.
This dish easily stands by itself.
Okay, good.
All right, so who's hungry?
We have our guests. We have, again, anyone who joined us recently. We have Nancy, the wonderful Nancy, and the wonderful Amy. And I'd love you guys to come over. Perfect. Yeah, I know.
God.
All right.
It's perfect. I mean, it's
Yeah.
perfectly cooked.
Yes.
It looks beautiful. And by the way, you could make an interesting dipping sauce, I would say, for these. I would do, me personally, I would do a sugar-free barbecue, but that's just me.
All right. Look at that. Check that out. That is what I am talking about. Well, bam. Right there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right.
Very nice.
So that being said, let's go ahead and grab one here. Well, thank you.
Okay, any last questions? Christopher, welcome. All right.
There we go.
Yes. So we do have the nutrition facts
All right, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
printed out big.
No, thank you.
It's a little less than 200 calories. When I put it through, it rounded up. About 9 grams of fat and 22 grams of protein. 9 grams of carbs, too.
All right, guys. Shall we
I'm
dig
going to
in?
stop talking about the nutrition
Yes.
and let us eat.
All right, let's eat.
Cheers.
Okay,
Cheers.
cheers.
Yum.
Oh my gosh. It's so moist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Really taste the herbs,
Very
too.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Delicious. Right? Get some sage, get some rosemary, a little bit of thyme in there.
Beautiful. I think this is going to be my dinner.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Well, thank you guys so much for
Exactly.
joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
I just want to personally thank Amy and Nancy. You guys can come on in. These are wonderful patients of ours who took the time out tonight to try our beautiful food, and I feel very thankful for all of you guys. It is Thanksgiving. I do want to thank ABC too, and I want to thank the marketing department at GBMC, our sleeve chef,
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
our program, and our next GBMC Facebook Live is December 19th at 6 p.m. with the topic of mocktails and
Appetizers.
all right. So thank you again for joining us.
Again, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much again to ABC for letting us use these beautiful studios. We really appreciate it. Nancy and Amy, thank you very much for joining us live in studio. It was great seeing you. Thank you so much for supporting the Sleeve Chef, everybody. And Jana Wolff, as always, have a great rest of the evening, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. Good
Happy
night.
Thanksgiving.